Here's why I stopped sharing my salary with my colleagues, and here's why you should stop too. Hi, my name is Alexandra Aileru, the founder of Confident Career Switch, and I coach you into the career that you love, whilst also helping organizations keep the talent that they fought so hard to get before they leave and grow somewhere else. Now, a few years ago, I was a teacher in Dubai, and the first ever pay slip that I got was a paper one because they used to pay us in cash. Do not ask me why. They hadn't sorted out our bank accounts at the time. So I sat down at the table with two other teachers. I got my pay slip and I didn't want to crinkle it, so I had it out. So one of the teachers decided to pry and have a look at my pay slip, and she was confused as to why we were both being paid the same amount, even though she was more experienced than I was. In fact, both of the teachers were more experienced than I was. So I proceeded to ask her, did you not negotiate your salary before you started? Because I know that I did. The first offer I got, I absolutely wasn't taking. And she said that yes, that she did. And she asked the other teacher, who was equally as experienced as she was, how much she was making, and she was making more money than she was, which infuriated her. She couldn't believe that she had been shortchanged by the organization. Now, that's not my fault. However, from then on out, she would take my name into each and every single conversation that she was having with the head teacher and any senior leadership to throw me under the bus and say she cannot believe that herself and Alexandra are both on the same salary. They need to change her salary. And she was trying to use this to negotiate her salary upwards, but was never successful because that's not how you negotiate a salary. Your salary negotiations need to be based upon your value that you bring, your perceived value that you bring, which is what she was missing each and every single time and was never successful, unfortunately. Now, I wish I could tell you that I learned from that same experience and that never happened to me again. But I found myself in a very similar predicament when I moved and transitioned into project management. Now, this time around, the transparency was more clear within this organization. They had salary banding, so you could roughly work out what somebody was on based upon their job title. So I sat with two more experienced members of staff and just assumed that both of them were making more money than I was based upon their job titles, and they were more experienced in years. They'd been doing it longer than me, so I just thought, okay, clearly they're making more money. So whilst they were celebrating the pay rise that they had received, because we all got a company-wide pay rise, I was a little bit frustrated because I didn't get as big of a jump as other people because I sat on the cusp of a salary band. Then one of them was able to piece together how much money I was making by the complaints that I had made and realized that I was actually making more money than she was, even though she was more senior. Now, this particular person, when they joined the organization, did settle for the role that they got and therefore started at a lower salary in the first place. Now, I don't ever agree with that unless you really want to work in a particular organization or you really want to start in a brand new career. But this person was far more experienced for the role. But I digress. She then turned to the other person and asked how much money they were making. Now, they did not tell her how much money they were making, but they did say that they were on more than what she was on. And that infuriated her. So then she took the information that I was on a higher salary than she was and was using this information to do her best to increase her salary by throwing me under the bus. But it doesn't work that way because, again, you need to negotiate based upon your value. What do you bring to the organization? So if you find yourself in a position where you're on a salary and you're not pleased with it, or you're about to negotiate a brand new contract, you need to do your market research, which is what I've done throughout the entirety of my career. What is the going rate for this role? What are competitors paying for this role? And what's the value that I bring so I can justify you paying me this amount of money? And I've always articulated this in every single role, bar the first role that I ever had, because I didn't know this at the time when I first started my career. And that's how I've been able to negotiate salaries that I'm actually happy with. You don't get the salary that you want by throwing other people under the bus or saying that this is what this person's on, so I need to have it as well. It doesn't work like that. And this is the reason why I don't share my salary with other people as a whole, unless you're very close to me, because for some reason it hasn't necessarily worked in my favor. Now, thankfully, Nobody ever called me in and said, oh, we're going to reduce your salary as a result of it. But it did mean that my other colleagues found out exactly what I was on because of these infuriated colleagues that had been shortchanged by the organization. And that's where they should have focused their frustration in the first place. So that's why I don't recommend you share your salary. Now, if you want to learn exactly how to negotiate a salary for your upcoming pay rise, for your next role, for your next performance review, then comment Discord and I will share the link, or you can join the Discord directly below. We are going to ensure that you not only enjoy your next career, but you're paid the right amount based upon your value. See you inside the Discord.